Hello friend and welcome back to my channel, Blue Nose Trading. My name is Tori Solis and today I'm going to be making a cat planter pot. For the base of this planter, I'm throwing a 2-pound pot on the wheel. I'm going to be making this pot with a white stoneware clay. The sun was super bright and made some flare on my camera, so we're going to go through this throwing process at super speed today. After the pot is dried for a few days, it will be trimmed. I'm going to trim off the bit of excess clay on the bottom to round out the shape. I use my soft red rubber rib to smooth out any lines made by the trim tool. I want the base for the sculpture to be seamless and round. I'll trim a small inner ring. I like having an inner ring to help remove a little more clay from the bottom, as well as help create flow for drainage. This pot will have feet, so functionally this is less important in this particular case, making it more of a personal design choice. This is going to be a planter pot, so it's going to need to have drainage. I like to use a fairly large drainage hole in combination with a screen mesh. I ship all of my planters out with a screen mesh so my customers don't have to go find some. But I'm of the opinion that it's better to have a large hole with a mesh to cover to keep in your substrate. It allows for ample drainage and allows you to use your substrate rather than your container to determine the rate of drainage. Larger holes in the bottom are also beneficial to overall oxygen exchange in the substrate. This drainage hole is on the smaller side compared to most of my pots really, but still large enough that I find it acceptable. As an additional design and functional choice, I like to carve 2 channels on the bottom of my planters. For function, this helps guide water for proper drainage. However, on pots that have feet, this isn't totally necessary and it just looks spiffy. And I do plan to put feet on this pot, little kitty feets. Each little foot starts as a little chunk of clay rolled into a ball. I roll out 4 to make sure they're all pretty much the same size. Once I have all 4 of the clay balls prepped, I use my hands to shape the feet. Each of the feet will be attached using a slip and scoring method. The wet, slippy clay acts as a glue to bind the feet to the pot. I use the flat edge on one of my tools to add definition to the toe beans. Going over the marks with a wet paintbrush helps to soften them and further refine the toe bean shape. Next, I make 2 equal-sized balls of clay to shape the eyes. I like to make big eyes. Big eyes just make things cute. Some sort of psychology there, I'm sure. At the end of the day, I can always just say it's a stylistic choice. There really are less rules than we think. I have the eyes gently pressed into the pot. I probably won't fully attach them until I've made the rest of the face and I'm certain where all the pieces are going to go. The next piece to make is the nose. I have not ever actually made a cat before, and they have very uniquely shaped noses. Like with anything I sculpt, I'm just looking at a photo of a cat and feeling out the shape with my hands. For me personally, sculpting is a fairly intuitive process. After I got the nose figured out, I finished out the face with a couple puffy cheeks and a lower jaw. Now that I know where I want the face to go, I'm going to attach all the pieces with a score and slip seal. I have to use a lot of slip and refine with a paintbrush to get the seam I'm looking for at the edge of the connection. I don't want to have to press hard to make the connection stick because I don't want to misshape the face that I've sculpted. The clay for the eyes was fairly wet and already making a firm connection to the pot. Taking them off to add slip would have risked warping the shape, so I decided to leave the connection as it was. To create the pupils, I used a large ball tool. This act will also help to reinforce the connection between the pot and the attachment. If the 2 clay surfaces you are joining are still wet enough, you may not need to slip and score your connection. Proceed with caution, my friends. I used my needle tool to make lines in the clay for the whiskers. Those lines were refined with a wet paintbrush. A couple small touches of detail to the nose, and now it's time to start sculpting the ears. As before, I'll start by prepping 2 equally sized balls of clay for each ear. It's usually a guess, so sometimes I'll have to grab a little more or less depending on how it feels while I'm shaping it. I'm going to attach the ears right away because there is a lot more flexibility for their shape. They don't always have to be an exact match, just pretty similar. I don't mind a little quirky fun in mismatched ears. The last bit to make for this cat is his tail. There aren't any groundbreaking new techniques here. The tail is just a simple coil rolled out and given a little bit of personality, and then slipped and scored for attachment. After drying this pot for a few weeks, the pot is going to go into a Cone 04 bisque to prep it for glazing. I'll be glazing this pot with Mako Stroke and Coat glazes. This cat is going to be glazed based off the colors of the cat from my pot swap partner. This video is a little late in the editing pipeline, but this pot was a pot swap gift from my 2023 pot swap official partner. Her cat Barney is a lovely cream, white, and chocolate color. I like to use the Mako Stroke and Coats for projects like this one because they're pigmented glazes that work like a paint. Most of the glazes that I make on my own in my studio get their colors from chemical reactions, and they aren't as suitable for these types of applications. With these pigmented glazes, I can mix colors and have a fairly reasoned guess as to the outcome, without having to shuffle any chemistry or chemical formulas. I can layer these colors and know how they will blend. As I said before, these stroke and coat colors behave a lot like paints in many ways. After glazing, this cat pot will be ready for its final Cone 6 glaze firing. Hot out of the kiln, this cat pot is pretty much perfection. The glazing turned out just as I was hoping it would, and I love it when that happens. I don't think I'll be making any more cat pots anytime soon. This was a special one-off gift from my Pot Swap 2023 partner. But this pot did give me a really cool idea. On my Patreon at patreon.com/bluenosetrading, I created a tier called The One with the Birthday Pot. For $15 per month, you will get early access to all my content, stickers sometimes, and most importantly, a special pot mailed to you for your birthday. The longer that you've been a patron on that tier, the cooler the potential for your birthday pot becomes. For example, if you join and you've been a member for 2 months before your birthday, that is $30 towards your birthday pot. But if you've been a member for a whole year, well, you're gonna get the coolest of special birthday pots. To be clear, these are not commissions. I'm not taking requests per se. You can specify if you want a planter, cup, or a mug, but at the end of the day, special requests just aren't something I'm wanting to do with these. I want to make you whatever cool one-off pot I feel like and send it to you for your birthday. I should also say that not every birthday pot is going to be a sculpture, but for longer time members, there is a much higher chance of getting a pot with some sculptural elements. What I can guarantee is that I will send you a piece that I think is truly amazing. If you're open to the fun and joy of supporting my creative work in exchange for a fun, random pot on your birthday, there is a limit of 25 patrons for this tier, so be sure to sign up soon. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. For all of my current available ceramic work, be sure to visit my website, bluenosetrading.com. Remember that you have great ideas that are worth exploring, drink lots of water, and I will see y'all next week.